This episode focuses on sensory acuity, which is the capacity to make extreme observations through our five senses. It can be used to observe behavior of people or nature, which can reveal new creative insights. Sensory acuity is the process of paying attention to more and more detail through our five senses. Habitually we do the opposite due to the bombardment of sensory stimuli that comes from the world. Intentionally turning up the senses helps us to use our full capability to discover something new. We create an eye for detail by retraining old habits. We are turning up the contrast. We are pushing new limits or new ideas. So for example, the game of checkers evolves into the game of chess. But let's start first with some pre-work. See, because before you can really practice sensory acuity, you have to be able to clear your mind. It's usually one of the blockers. So we have to address that first. Meditation and mindfulness are great tools to reduce stress and to raise awareness of your surroundings. It helps you clear your mind. Neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, is great for gaining insight into another person's mood or their nuances. It's also a tool that can help you become more aware of your own mood and help clear your mind. So I'm not here to teach these topics, as there's already plenty of training content online for those. So if you don't have a favorite method that helps you clear your mind, you need to get one. It's really a prerequisite to sensory acuity. Okay, so now sensory acuity is really something that's hard to teach. You really learn it through experience. And so I'm going to try to explain it by examples. Okay, so the first example I want to use is a real live example of myself in my backyard. Okay, in the backyard, I planted 30 trees, and they're rather far away from the house. So I have no utilities that far out. So I combine several water hoses to reach the trees for watering. So day after day I began to spend considerable time holding the water hose and moving from tree to tree and thinking there must be a better way. So there's some obvious choices of how to solve for this. So you could use water valve splitters to daisy chain water hoses to each other, and the water pressure is hard to predict or control. So about 6 hoses is the limit that you can cascade. So it's really not going to be able to do 30 trees, effectively and reliably. Another approach is to use a watering bag, like this example of a tree gator. These bags accomplish a slow watering that is ideal for trees, but each bag still needs to be refilled regularly. So it only solves part of this problem. So installing water timers and valves is another obvious choice, and you can do that today, but it gets rather expensive when you look at the cost of timers and valves, water hoses and batteries, since it has to run out there. It's pretty expensive, but it will get the job done. Since watering only needs to occur for the first year or two, we really need a cheaper way to get this done. It's really the purpose of this exercise. So it's a great problem. The trees need that regular, predictable volume of water to take root, and with only one water hose as a source, I need a way to distribute that water. So before I move on, I want to pause right here and get you to think if there's any other obvious solutions that come to mind. As I go through the talk, the solution will become more clear. So note in your mind right now any solutions that stand out to you. And some might go immediately for this third solution, spend money and get timers and relays and get on with it. But for the purpose of sensory acuity as an example, let's look for a simpler example. And here's my approach. Here's how I experience this problem. I move, first of all, away from my desk, and I go stand physically in the zone of the problem area. I'm going to walk out to the backyard. I'm going to stand amongst the trees. I'm going to see the arrangement of the trees using my sight. I'm going to feel the slope of the land as I walk around the trees. I smell the dryness of the air, which creates the need for watering. Especially in Texas summers, very dry air is going to dry out those leaves, so they're not going to get any moisture from the air directly. They need that water through the soil. So I touch each tree. I feel the crisp, vibrant leaves that are there right now that are going to need this water, nutrients, and the sun. I hear the gentle breeze that causes the trees to sway here and there. So I'm immersing myself in this environment so I can really relate to the problem. Okay, paying attention to your senses. Different areas of your brain process your senses, so you want all of the lobes activated and focus on the problem. So talking to yourself can actually activate your sense of hearing. So it may seem foolish, but saying out loud, I need to water these trees automatically and predictably activates your temporal lobe in your brain. Your occipital lobe is solely responsible for observing and processing those raw images seen through the eyes. So get these two lobes to work together by repeating out loud what you see. So I'm immersing myself in the same time activating all the lobes of my brain, and also I find solace in the backyard, which reduces my stress hormones. Okay, placing myself in a peaceful state of mind. So whether you do that through meditation or mindfulness, whatever approach you use, you need to achieve this peaceful state of mind. You need to be able to block out those interrupts or those other worries, those other life problems that want to kind of take control. So set yourself up for creativity. Find that low stress, peaceful state of mind, engaging all of your senses here. So you may stay there for an hour. It may take longer, but you need to get your mind free and uncluttered. So now thinking now of the law of physics in regard to water distribution and pressure, I know that cascading hoses just isn't really going to work. The pressure drop's just not going to be practical when you try to do that across 30 trees. So that one's pretty much out. However, thinking about the cascading of hoses, that's really a serial process. And so, drawing on that idea is the wrong idea. The opposite of serial is parallel. Okay, so parallelism comes to mind. So this is what is the aha moment, the light bulb that goes off, that you realize that you need to move away from this serial operation to a parallel operation. Okay, that's the fundamental idea, spark that goes off, and that's what sensory acuity can produce. Now that just first aha moment's not really enough. You need to take it beyond that, especially when you're in this state of mind, when you first have that initial idea, you want to embellish it a little bit more. So by parallelism, I'm envisioning some kind of distribution box that provides the same water pressure from the incoming water source to 30 outlets. Okay, so the sensory acuity now has done its job. That's the core idea. Now I have to turn that idea into something more workable. And that also has its challenges, but uses different skills and different muscles to get it done. So let's finish it just a little bit further. So we know that running 30 hoses is messy in the yard and still expensive. And we can reduce the mess some by using a combination of parallelism and splitters. So think of our distribution box as having 15 outlets instead of 30 outlets. So you're going from a ratio of 30 to 1 to 15 to 1. And then on the end of each of the 15 hoses, you would put a splitter that could then water 2 nearby trees. Okay, so we simplified the problem a little bit. Now second, we can see that those 15 hoses are still pretty long. So we need to shorten the hoses by placing this parallel distribution box in the center of the planted trees. So now our idea is morphing into this arrangement. Okay, so we're getting there. Third, we have to deal with the cost of hoses. So this polyethylene tubing is used for landscape irrigation today, and it's less than $50 for 500 feet. Fairly inexpensive. You can go to a lot of trees with 500 feet of tubing. Okay, so now fourth, we have to think about this distribution product that, that really is the core idea that we're working on here. So it could be a manifold design, something like this one. You can see intake on the left, and the green tubes are the output. And I made 16 because that's a nice round number. You have 8 on each side of it. And so now those irrigation tubes can connect right on top of those green outlets. And you have the makings of a good system. I call it tree-sip. There's more details to its product design, but that's really not the focus of this video episode. So contact me if you want a tree-sip. Earlier, I asked you to contemplate on obvious solutions. I did that because many final solutions appear simple, as they should. Okay, sensory acuity is learned through this experience, and so those aha moments are the ones we're really looking for. So I want to explain it with another example, in this quicker, shorter example. Now let's take face masks, which we all have worn through this pandemic time. No one likes wearing them, and why not? So let's turn on sensory acuity to more deeply understand why. So first, I can't see the full expression of people. And I need communication is body language and visual expression as well as spoken word. And we're missing part of our communication that our subconscious just assumed on our behalf. The generic medical appearance of a face mask makes me feel less unique. I feel emotionally less important than I was before. I can't see when my glasses are fogged because of my own exhaled air. I feel the tension around my ears, which must be tight to assure a seal around my face. I taste the material, and over time, the face mask interior gets humid and rank from my own breath. My sense of smell is disabled for outside smells. I touch my face and hit the face mask often. So it's harder to hear others when they're speaking through a face mask. You see, so we really can detail why we don't like wearing those face masks. So once you focus inward on a problem area using all your senses, you can build that deeper insight. And then solving a problem after that is easier. So let's try another one. Curb appeal of a home. The curb appeal can dramatically change your perception of the home value and its invitation for you to enter. The colors you see can make the home dramatically different. Now, every feature can attract your attention, from the roof fascia trim to the front door to windows and the greenery around it. So I can feel the difference between a flat and a gloss paint. I can feel the stained wood trim. I smell the vegetation. Even the concrete walkway provides a cleaner smell compared to an earthened walkway. So I can hear the wind chimes and the birds in the area. See, all of these things factor into that invitation and my first impression of that home, that curb appeal. Which would you like to live in, the left or the right? Which would you like to invite your friends to visit? So making full use of our sensory acuity will lead you to discover great problems and better solutions. And this video episode just provided some quick examples, and I encourage you to continue your discovery of purposeful ways to put your senses to work. You have to work on experiencing it. So thank you for your time and attention. Let's be sensitive.